Okay, so we are implementing a error recovery parser. Okay, so we are going to look into this table and we are going to do some error recovery parsing technique. But then what are the rules that the parser will follow? I think I have already given you the notes. Okay, so there are few places which are blank. Okay, and there are few places where there are productions, and there are few places where there is a sink. Okay, so depending upon what is there inside that block, you have to take certain actions. So in the notes which I've already given you, I'm just going to read out whatever I have given you. Error recovery for predictive parsing. An error is detected during the predictive parsing when the first condition is the terminal which is there on the top of the stack, okay, does not match the next input symbol. Okay, so this could be one case. So whatever is there on the top of the stack could not generate the input symbol that you require. That is the first case. The second case is when the non-terminal which is there on the top of the stack is the next input when okay, non-terminal A is on the top of the stack and small a is the next input symbol, the parsing entry is empty. Okay, we don't have any action to be taken for this case. Okay, in that case also there is a error. Okay, if you have a production, you can apply the production. But if there is a blank, okay, then we don't know how to go further. Okay, so that is the second kind of an error that might appear. Okay, so what we implement is called as the panic mode recovery. So what is the two things that we do in the panic mode recovery? First is we skip all the symbols in the input until a token in the selected set of the synchronizing tokens appear. So you need not worry about this statement. So the first rule that we follow is in case if you're looking for an entry in the particular row and particular column, okay, and if you find a blank, that blank can be treated as an error. Okay, so in the predictive parsing table algorithm, the last step, if you see, okay, is fill all the missing uh, components. So that means missing blocks with error. Okay, so that we have not written here. Okay, so basically, if there is a blank here, it could be a error. Okay, so everywhere there is a blank, you should actually fill it up with errors, which we have not done. So that's the meaning, a blank or an error. Okay, it is one and the same. So what is the action that we take? Okay, so suppose if you have a blank, okay, you have a blank, or if you have a error, or if you have a error. So in this, our case, we have not yet filled it with error at all. Okay, so it will be blank only. Then what you should do, the input symbol, okay, the input symbol, what you have, okay, is skipped. The input symbol A is skipped. Okay, so this is what we do. We skip this input symbol because we cannot generate it because it is blank. That is what we do. Now, the second case is, okay, in case if you have a sink, what to do? Okay, in case if you have a sink, then what to do? Then the non-terminal, then the non-terminal where on the top of the stack. The non-terminal which is there on the top of the stack is popped. Popped means it is just removed without considering it. Okay, so these are the two actions are taken. Okay, why do we take all these actions? In order to resume with the parsing, in order to resume with parsing, in order to resume with parsing. So these two actions are taken. Okay, so now what we do is like we saw the error, the moves made by the parser for a particular input string. Okay, so now we are going to check how to deal with the erroneous input when we have a error recovery parsing table, how it is going to recover from the erroneous input given. So these two are the actions to be taken. Okay, so first we'll make columns. So the first column is, maybe I'll just put a serial number for my reference. Okay, so the number of steps that we are taking up. Then we have the stack. Okay, this is very similar to what we did in the previous example. And then we have an input string. Okay. And at last is what is the action taken. Okay. What is the action taken. Okay, so this is what we write. The serial number is actually not very important. Okay, so in the stack, we always have dollar sign. Okay, so which marks what? Which marks the end of the stack. The top of the stack is always the start symbol and towards the left hand side. In which one? In the top down parsers, it is on the left hand side. In the bottom of parsers, it is on the right hand side. So you always start the stack with start symbol. Why do we have to start the stack with the start symbol? Because we are doing a top down. We always start with the start symbol and start deriving the required string. We'll take one input which is erroneous. Okay. So we have a grammar which is generating a valid expression. Okay, a valid expression. But what are we doing? We are writing an input which is not in the form of a valid expression. So you will never write any expression like this. If the bracket has to come, you know that it has to be in a proper place and a matching closing bracket also should be there. Only then it is a valid expression. This one is definitely an invalid expression. Also, we don't write binary operators next to each other. Okay, because a binary operator always should have two operands. Okay, so in two places, you can recognize that this is a erroneous input. It's not a good form of arithmetic expression. Okay, right. So we are starting with two initial conditions. One is the start symbol on the stack and one input string. Both are terminated with a dollar sign. This is end of the stack. This is end of the input symbol. Okay, so start looking into what is the action to be taken. So the first thing, very first thing that you have to do is you have to look E and the bracket. Okay, so look into this E and bracket. Okay, we have a sync. Sync means what? What is the action to be say taken? The non-terminal which is there on the top of the stack is popped. Okay, so in our case, this itself is the start symbol. Okay, so since this itself is the start symbol, there is nothing to pop from the stack. We say that it is a error in input, and we just skip the symbol. Which symbol are we going to skip? This symbol we are going to skip. Okay, we skip the bracket sign saying that there is an error in the input. Okay, so what remains here is E star will remain, and here ID star plus ID dollar is going to remain. Okay, so next what I'm going to do, I'm going to check E on ID, these two things, what to do. Okay, so E on ID, see E on ID, E goes to TE dash. Okay, so do that operation. So what do we have? E goes to TE dash. So this E is replaced by TE dash. Okay, so TE dash dollar is what we'll get. This is going to remain as it is because we have not taken any action on the input. So next is we are going to see T and ID. Okay, so you can refer the tables which you have.
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಹಾಕಲ್ಲ
Hmm?
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಇ ಡ್ಯಾಶ್ ಟಿ ಅಂತ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ತರ ಪುಷ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ವಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಹಂಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ತೀವ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್?
ಯಾವ್ದನ್ನ?
ಇನ ರೀಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಟಿ ಇ ಡ್ಯಾಶ್, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟಿ ಹಾಕಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇ ಡ್ಯಾಶ್ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ತಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
Illi, see here, we are doing the leftmost derivation. No? See, this is the symbol that has to be replaced, isn't it? First, E dash kotogakagala. E production alli. Okay, so T is the one which has to be replaced first, and then you can go to E dash. Okay, so likewise, when you are writing here also, it comes to the last position, T E dash.
ಓಕೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? So that first we replace this T and then we go to E dash. This order, same order. Whatever you are doing here, the same thing comes here.
ಓಕೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
Okay. Always top-down parsers are all leftmost derivation. Okay, we don't even talk about rightmost derivation here. So leftmost variable yaudu T alva. Okay, so T should be the one in consideration. So therefore it will go to the top of the stack here. Okay, so this T leftmost will become the top of the stack here. Simple. I think in the last class also I told you that we changed everything. It's the same thing, no change in that. Okay, so next you're going to set T on ID. Okay, you check the tables that you have. Every time I'm not going to scroll. Okay, so you have T on ID. So T on ID, we have T goes to FT dash. You can check your tables. T goes to FT dash. Okay, so T will be replaced by what now? F. Okay, T dash. E dash will remain its position. We write dollar here. ID star ID dollar is going to remain. ID star plus ID is going to remain. Next, we are going to check F on ID. Okay, F on ID, we have F goes to ID. We have F goes to ID. Okay, so now comes taking the action of replacing this F with ID. T dash, E dash, dollar, ID star plus ID dollar. Okay, ID star plus ID dollar. So now ID and ID are there. Okay, so what are we going to do here? We're going to match ID. Okay, match this ID. So what remains here? T dash, E dash, dollar will remain. Star plus ID dollar will remain. Next, you're going to check T dash on star. T dash row, star column. Okay, there you have T dash goes to star F T dash. This is what you have. Okay, so immediately replace here. Okay, so while replacing, remember that this is the leftmost symbol. Here also it has to be the leftmost. So star F T dash E dash dollar. Only this is getting replaced by this much. Okay, so next what you're going to do? So next you're going to do, you're going to write this as it is, star plus ID dollar. Okay, so next you're going to check star and star. Oh, they do match. So therefore match ID. I mean star, match star. Match star. Once they are matched, they just go away from the stack. They just popped in both the places. Plus ID dollar. This what remains. So F on plus is what you're going to check. Okay. See what is F on plus? What is F on plus?
Sync.
Sync.
Yes, there is a sync. Okay. So what is the action that we are going to take when there is a sync? You just check. Non-terminal on the top of the
Skip
stack
the
is popped. Okay. So the non-terminal, sync. Non-terminal on the top of the stack is popped. Okay. So what is the non-terminal which is there on the top of the stack? F is the non-terminal. Okay. So therefore pop it from the stack. So I'm just going to write pop the TOS. Okay. Which is, that is F. Okay. So we're going to pop F. If you pop F, T dash E dash dollar is going to remain. Okay. T dash E dash dollar is going to remain. Here plus ID dollar is going to remain. Next, you have to check T dash on plus. Okay. See what is there on T dash on plus? What is there in the table?
epsilon.
What goes to epsilon?
T dash.
T dash goes to epsilon is there. So what remains here if you put T dash goes to epsilon? E dash dollar will remain. Okay. So it will remain, E dash dollar will remain here. Here plus ID dollar will remain. Next you have to see E dash on plus. Preetham. Preetham. Preetham.
Yes, ma'am.
ಕೋರ್ಟಲ್ ಕರಿಯೋ ಥರ 3 ಸರಿ ಕರಿಬೇಕಪ್ಪ.
ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಇಲ್ಲವಾ? Okay, just tell me what is there on, what to check, and you tell me what is the action that I'm going to take here for this combination. This is the combination. Just tell me what is the action we're supposed to take.
Ma'am, plus
Hmm. Hmm.
E dash.
Hmm. E dash goes to plus TE dash. So
dash.
plus TE dash is going to come here, and plus ID dollar is going to remain. So plus and plus. So definitely it is a match plus. Okay. What remains here? TE dash dollar will remain. ID and dollar will remain. ID and dollar. Pritam, next, tell me. T on ID. T on ID.
Skip, ma'am. Error.
No, no. Why error? You see your table. What is there? T and ID. See your table. What is there? T and then ID. What is there? If blank is there, I'm going to skip. But there is an entry. T goes to
FT
FT
dash.
dash.
FT dash.
T goes to
FT
FT
dash.
dash. So it becomes FT dash E dash dollar ID dollar. So F and their ID. What to do? F and ID, what to do? See in the
ID.
table and tell. F
ID.
goes to
ID.
ID. So ID T dash E dash dollar and ID dollar. Okay. So what do we do here? We match ID. We match this ID. What remains? T dash E dash dollar will remain and dollar will remain. Okay. Now tell me. So in this condition, we are going to check T dash over dollar. What is the action taken?
Sync.
No. T dash goes to epsilon. Simply do not say anything. Okay. So T dash on dollar. See here. T dash on dollar. Do you have the table with you?
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So T dash on dollar is T dash goes to epsilon. Okay. So if T dash goes to epsilon, what remains here? E dash dollar is going to remain. Okay. And dollar is going to remain here. Next, I'm going to say E dash on dollar. Okay. What we did? E dash on dollar. So E dash goes to epsilon.
Epsilon.
So next is E dash goes to epsilon. What remains here? Dollar. What remains here? Dollar. Okay.
Dollar.
Okay, right. So this parser, okay, even though we had given it a wrong input, okay, it was able to successfully make some corrections, additions and deletions. Additions we usually don't do. We do some deletions, okay, and it was able to successfully parse and complete the parsing process. Okay. So this is how we are going to make use of the panic mode recovery. Okay. So they might ask you to draw a predictive parsing table. Okay. Which parsing table? Error recovery parsing predictive parser table. So parsing table is different. Error recovery parsing table is different. When you have only the predictive parsing table, it can work with only the valid inputs. Okay. When you have error recovery predictive parsing table, okay, it can work with the valid input also, and it can take some actions for the erroneous inputs also. Okay. So this is another type of question they might ask. Generate a error recovery predictive parsing table and show the moves made by the parser for the erroneous input, and they might give you some string like this. And you'll have to trace out this entire 3 columns, whatever we have done, and finish off with the problem. Okay. So to arrive at this error recovery predictive parsing table, you should know all the process. First one is elimination of ambiguity, elimination of the left factoring of the grammar is the second step. After that, you have to find out the first and follow. After finding out the first and follow, you can put the entries into the predictive parser table. Once you have put the entries into the predictive parsing table, you can form the error recovery parsing table. You can convert the same table into error recovery table. And then you should remember these 2 rules. Okay. And then go ahead with parsing. So this is the procedure that you're going to take up for the error recovery. Okay. If you have any doubts, just ask. I believe everybody has followed. Just let me know. Yes or no? Did you all follow or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
all right. Okay. So this topic completes your top-down parsers. Okay. So this is all we have for the top-down parsers. So next we move to the next concept, okay, which is bottom-up parsers. Okay, put the heading as bottom-up parsers. Bottom-up parsers. So in the bottom-up parsers, there are several parsers, okay, but we are going to learn the concept of two important concepts here, okay. So the first one is called as handle pruning, handle pruning, and the second concept that we are going to learn is the shift reduce parsers, okay. So this is very important, shift reduce parser. So this parser is one of the kind of a bottom-up parser. So we are going to learn shift reduce parsing technique, and before that we are going to learn what is a handle and what is the procedure of handle pruning. Okay. So when we talk about bottom-up parser, and before we move on to parsing techniques, we'll learn the basics of the bottom-up parsers. The bottom-up parsers are always going to use the reverse. Okay, what are they going to use? The reverse of the rightmost derivation. They're going to always follow this procedure. Okay, reverse of the rightmost derivation. Okay, what will the top-down parsers always follow? Leftmost derivation. Okay, they always work with leftmost derivation. But bottom-up parsers will always work with the reverse of the rightmost derivation. Okay, so that is about the bottom-up parsers. So we'll see what is this actually, what is this bottom-up technique, and why do we say that we follow the reverse of the rightmost derivation. Okay, so let's consider one example grammar. Okay, so suppose we have e goes to e plus t. Okay, suppose we have e goes to e plus t or t. Okay, next is t goes to t star f, t star f or f. Okay, and then f goes to e or id. Okay, so this is okay. So this is a grammar that we have. Okay, so for this grammar, we are going to do some bottom-up parsing. We are going to do bottom-up parsing and see what happens. So we are considering a string. Okay, so the string is id star id. We are going to derive this id star id. So if you have to do this by the rightmost derivation, okay. So e goes to, first of all, we have to do rightmost. So I can't use this production because plus is there here. Okay, we don't need a plus. So therefore I have to use this alternative. So e goes to t, and I'm doing a RMD, rightmost derivation. So next is from t, okay, what are we supposed to derive? We need a star here, isn't it? So this alternative will choose, and we will make this as t star f. Okay, so next, what are we going to do? This t, okay, is the leftmost. So we're not dealing with this. We are going to deal with this because every time the rightmost variable is always replaced. Okay, so f has to be replaced. So we'll see what is required and what to use. So id is required in this place. So therefore, I'm going to use f goes to id. So id comes here, okay, and we are using what? F goes to id. What did we use here? T goes to t star f, okay. What did we use here? E goes to t. This is the productions we used. So T star ID. Next, again, we are going to use T goes to F because ultimately we have to generate ID. Okay, so F and ID. Next is we need ID in place of F. So F goes to ID is available. So we are going to use this production and say ID star ID. Okay, so this is the rightmost derivation. So we are talking about the bottom-up parsers. So bottom-up parsers will not start with the start symbol. They are always going to start with the string. Okay, they're going to start with the string and they are going to ultimately generate the start symbol. Okay, so that procedure is your bottom-up parser. Top-down is always starting with the start symbol. Okay, and then generating the string. So in reverse of rightmost, we are starting with the string and generating the start symbol. Okay, so we'll follow the reverse order here. Whatever rightmost derivation we have done, we have to follow the reverse order. Okay, so last step first, then we go on to the first step. So when you have ID here, okay, so which ID is getting replaced here? You can see that this ID, okay, rather this ID is getting replaced. So this ID is getting replaced by what? F. Okay. So this ID is getting replaced by F. Okay. In this step, what is happening? What is happening? This F, whatever was there, okay, is getting replaced by T. Reverse order. F is getting replaced by T. So this F is again getting replaced by T. This is what we do. Next. Next, what happened? We are talking about this ID now. Okay, this ID is getting replaced by F. Okay, this ID is getting replaced by F. So this ID is actually getting replaced by, this is what is happening. Okay. Next, what is happening? This star is also there in between. Okay, so what do we have? T star F. T star F together is getting replaced by T. Okay, T star F is getting replaced by T. So whatever you have here, this T and then star and this F, okay, is getting replaced by T. Okay, so ultimately what is happening here? This T is getting replaced by E. So this T is getting replaced by E. So what did we arrive at here? We arrived at the start symbol. And where did we start? We started with W, that is the string, and we arrived at the start symbol. So this is the reverse of the rightmost derivation. And if we are able to do this, if we are able to generate the start symbol, then the bottom-up parsing is successful. Okay, so this is the meaning and how the reverse of the rightmost derivation is considered for the bottom-up parsers. So this is the technique. Okay, so next straight away we'll start with what is handle pruning. Okay, so handle pruning. So this is one of the concepts. And this is handle pruning. See, when you're talking about handle pruning, first of all, we have to understand what is a handle. Okay, what is a handle? And you know, pruning is removing. So handle is a substring. Okay, what is it? It is a substring. Okay, that matches the body of the production. Substring that matches the body of the production, and the whole reduction represents one step, the whole reduction represents one step along the reverse of a rightmost derivation. Okay, and the whole reduction represents one step along the reverse of the rightmost derivation. Okay, so very simple. Anything that matches the RHS of a production, okay, that is called as the handle. Okay, so here see in this example itself, if you take this sentential form, okay, which is a right sentential form. If you take this, okay, so first of all, this is the handle, okay, this is the handle which is getting replaced by F. Okay, so id is getting replaced by F, isn't it? So this id is called as the handle which matches the RHS of the production. See here, id itself is the RHS of the production. So this id is called as the handle. In this case, which is the handle? F is the handle which is getting replaced by T. In this case, again, id is the handle which is getting replaced by F. Here T star F is the handle, okay, which is getting replaced by T. Here T is the handle which is getting replaced by capital E, okay. So that is the meaning of the handle. It is a substring, okay. In this entire string, ID is the substring, isn't it? So this substring is matching the RHS of the production and getting reduced by F, okay. So that is the meaning. So it is a substring that matches the body of the production, and the whole reduction represents one step along the reverse of the rightmost derivation. So how do we state this formally? Okay, so if you have a S, which is the starting symbol, and you are allowing or you are using the rightmost derivation, when you take up multiple steps, okay, you may arrive at a production of this type, okay, where A is a terminal, some capital A represents some part substring, and we have W. And if I can replace this A by beta, okay, if I can replace this A by beta, then what is the handle? What is the handle? We have to go in the reverse direction. Beta is the handle. Okay, beta is the handle which was reduced to capital A. Beta was the handle substring. Beta is the substring which was reduced by A. Okay, beta was reduced. It was reduced to capital A. Okay. So this is how we represent this formally. Okay, so here what is the handle? Beta is the handle. Okay, so when I say handle, it is a substring. It is a substring. What it is getting replaced with? It is getting reduced to a non-terminal. Okay, so then what kind of a production would have been there? Then A goes to beta production should be there. Okay, A goes to beta production is used. Okay, so here we have F goes to ID. Okay, and then F got replaced here. So this is capital A and this is your beta. This is your beta and this is capital A. So there has to be capital A goes to beta production. Okay, F goes to ID production. So this is the way in which you see the handles. Okay, so for this you may be given a problem. Okay, what is the problem you might have? They might ask you is find, or they might ask you identify. This might be asked for 5 marks. Identify the handle for the given grammar. For the given grammar. Identify the handle for the given grammar. This is what they might ask. Okay. So for that you might have to think about a string W. Okay. So first of all, the grammar is E goes to E plus E or E star E. Okay. Or within the brackets E or ID. So this is the grammar. In the solution, we'll have to think about some W. Sometimes in the question paper, they might give you W. So I'm taking ID plus ID star ID. Okay, so this is the string that we are taking. your very first step that you should do is perform a rightmost derivation. Okay, so step 1, what you're going to do? You're going to do a RMD, rightmost derivation. This is what you're supposed to do. So let's do a RMD. Okay, so start symbol is E. We write the symbol and write RMD on top of it. So we need here something. Okay, you can either start with E star E also, you can either start with E plus E also. It is your wish. So I choose to start with the E plus E. Okay, go on doing the different derivation. So E plus E, so you used E goes to E plus E. Next, we require ID here. Okay, and we don't consider this E. Why we don't consider this E? Because it is the leftmost E. We are considered this rightmost. So E plus, we are going to write like that. And here we need E goes to E star E. I need not tell you how the derivation work. We have already done. We see this part of the string after plus. So it's an expression that includes star. So therefore we have E star E. Okay, so E star E. So next what we're going to do? We have E plus E star E. This is the rightmost. This is the rightmost. This is the rightmost. So in this place, what do we want after star? We want ID. Okay. So we are going to use the E goes to ID. So you have E plus E star ID. This is the rightmost. Again, you're going to use E goes to ID. So you're going to get E plus ID star ID. Next, this is the rightmost. In that place also, I want an ID. So we are going to use this production E goes to ID. This is ID plus ID star ID. Okay. So this is what we are going to have. And we have followed the rightmost derivation. Okay. And for handle pruning, we are actually using the reverse of the rightmost. That means we are doing the bottom up parsing. Okay. So next is, after doing this derivation, we have to draw a table. Okay. So this is how you complete the problem. Okay. So we are always going to take the right sentential forms one by one. Right sentential forms. Okay. So we are going to consider that one by one. Because we have done a rightmost derivation, we get everything in right sentential form. If you do a leftmost derivation, each one of them is called as the left sentential form. Each one means each step is called as sentential forms. So we are going to identify the handle, okay, for each one of them. Okay. And we are also giving the reducing production. Reducing production. So if you do this derivation completely, this is very easy. In each step, you have to just identify the handle. That's all. Okay. ID plus ID star ID you have. Okay. For simplicity, we'll just number them as 1, 2, 3 so that we'll know which particular ID is the handle. Because every time if I just simply go on writing ID, I don't know which of this, whether it is this one or the middle one or the last one, I don't know. So for simplicity, ID1, ID2, ID3, we name it. Okay. So here also, then you have to say this is ID1, this is ID2, ID3. Okay. So this is 2 and 3 and this is 3. Okay. Simple. So from the reverse order, okay, which was the first ID which was replaced? Which was the first ID that was replaced here? ID 1. Okay, because this is getting reduced to E. Reverse order. ID 1 is the handle. What is the reducing production? E goes to ID. Okay, E goes to ID. Next is we have E. In this sentential form, we'll take E plus ID2 plus ID3. E plus ID2 plus ID3. Okay, so that is the sentential form. Now this place is getting reduced to E. See here, ID2 place is getting reduced to E. So the handle is ID2. ID2 is the handle. What is the reducing production? E goes to ID is the reducing production. In this case, since we are replacing ID2, I will write here E goes to ID2. So we'll consider this sentential form now. This is what we have done, isn't it? If this is the handle, ID2, we are replacing that ID2 with E. It is getting reduced to capital E. So then this sentential form will become E plus ID3. Okay. Next. What is the handle?
Star.
Tell.
ಇದು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ ಬರ್ಬೇಕು ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್
ಯಾವುದು?
ಇದು ಇ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಐಡಿ ಟು ಇಲ್ಲಿ
ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ಎಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಆಯ್ತು. Okay. Next, what is getting replaced? Okay, see in this sentential form, E is there in its place, E is there in it. So this is getting reduced to capital E. Okay, because this position is the rightmost. So therefore, ID3 is the handle. Okay, and what ID3 is getting replaced with? It is getting reduced to E. ID3 is again getting reduced to E. Okay, so what this sentential form will become? If ID3 got reduced to capital E, then capital E will come. Okay. Next, what is the production which is getting reduced is what you have to see here. So this expression, okay, is getting reduced to E. What is the handle then? E star E is the handle which is getting reduced. What this E star E is getting reduced to? It is getting reduced to E. Okay. So E will remain as it is, and this entire thing which was the handle is getting replaced by E. Okay. Next, what is getting replaced? What is getting replaced? Entire E plus E is getting replaced to E. Okay, entire this E plus E is getting reduced to E. So therefore, this E plus E, whatever you have, that itself is the handle. So this E plus E is getting reduced to what? E. E plus E is getting reduced to E. So therefore, you will have a E here. Okay. And what will remain here? Nothing. Just put a dash there. Just put a dash. What is the action that we're taking? Nothing. Okay. So since you have arrived at the start symbol, we have recognized the handles in every step. Okay. We have recognized the handles in every step. Okay. So this is how you frame the handle. Okay. And if they ask you the question, identify the handle for the given grammar. It's your wish. You take any string that you want. You perform the rightmost derivation and go on considering the sentential forms in the reverse order. Okay, because we should start with the string. Okay, we should start with the string W, and then we have to arrive at what? Arrive at the start symbol. Okay, so this is the procedure that we have to follow. Okay, everybody is clear with what we did? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts?
ma'am.
Any doubts? No doubts? Okay, we will solve another problem. So the second problem, again, what you have to do? We have to identify the handle. We have to identify the handle. What is the grammar given? S goes to A, capital A, C, B, E. Next, A goes to A, B, B. Next, B goes to D. Okay, so this is the grammar. So our solution starts here. Okay, and you have to frame a string, and we are going to consider A, B, B, C, D, E. This is the string that I want. Now, if the string is this, I have to perform the RMD. Okay, rightmost derivation I have to perform. So this is the step one always. This is the step one. So start with the start symbol. S goes to. S goes to what? Okay, I have to take the check the string. Okay, and I have to use the production. So basically this has got no second alternative at all. Okay, so directly I'm going to write the production that I have for start symbol. Okay, so next, what do I do? A is already there, but we have to always replace the rightmost variable. So see, before this E, what is there? Small d. So definitely I'm going to use the production B goes to small d. This is the production we are going to use. So S goes to, okay, A, capital A, C, D and E. So we are replacing this handle D with capital B. This is the handle. Next is, this is the what? The leftmost variable now. Before the C, okay, I need two B's. Okay, before this, I need two B's. Okay, so if I use this alternative, A goes to small b, then I will not be able to generate the second b. Okay, so this is not an option. So therefore, this is an option. Okay, A goes to capital A, B is an option. So I'm going to use A goes to capital A, B because two symbols we want, not only single B. So replace here. A goes to A, B, C, D, E. This is again the rightmost variable. So if this is the rightmost variable, I need a small b in that place. So therefore, A goes to small b. So S goes to A, small b, B, C, D. Okay. So once we have done this, we don't have any more non-terminals to replace. Stop at this point and start framing the table for the handle. Okay. So first column is always the right sentential forms. Right sentential form. We are going to consider this. Second column, we are going to consider the handle. And the third column, we are going to use or write the reducing productions. Reducing production. Okay. This is the table that we have to write. So once we do this, we have to start with A, B, B, C, D, E, W. Okay, and arrive at the start string. Okay, so here, which is the handle? B is the handle and getting reduced to A. So B is the handle which is getting reduced to A. So this B is the handle. It is getting reduced to capital A. The rest of the things are going to remain as it is. Okay. So B is the handle getting reduced by A goes to B. Okay. So this is the
Excuse me,
handle.
ma'am. Ma'am, we have presentations now, ma'am. So I'll leave the meeting, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
So next is you have this entire AB. Okay. This is the handle which is getting reduced by A. So handle is AB. What it is getting reduced to? A goes to AB. That is the handle. Okay. So next is what? Next we have this particular AB which got reduced to A. This entire thing got reduced to A. The rest of the things are going to remain as it is. Okay. So next is what is the handle now? What is the handle? D is the handle and it is getting replaced by B. So this is the handle D, okay, which is getting replaced by B. Getting replaced by B. Okay. So what is the handle here? D was the handle and B goes to D is the reducing production. So next, what do we have here? We have AACBE. So directly when you see, okay, this AACBE, this entire thing is getting reduced to capital S. Okay, it's getting reduced to capital S. Okay. So here, when you consider this sentential form, the handle itself is the entire production. The handle itself is the entire production. And what is the reducing factor here? S goes to AAC B. This is the reducing. So this entire thing gets reduced to S. What remains here? We have no more handles and no more actions to be taken. Okay, so what did we do? We started with the W and we arrived at the start symbol. Okay, so this is how you finish the problem. Okay, any doubts? Do you have any doubts?
No.
No. Okay, fine. So this is how you do the handle pruning problems. Okay, so I will stop the class for today. And in the next class, we'll learn the next topic, that is the shift reduce parsing. Okay. So if you have any doubts, you can ask.